What if some of Earth's largest creatures didn't vanish into the abyss of extinction, but simply learned how to hide in plain sight from our prying eyes? The dense, misty forests of the Pacific Northwest have whispered tales of a giant, bipedal ape for centuries, bridging the gap between human imagination and the unknown natural world. We look at the towering redwoods and feel a profound sense of awe. Yet the thought that a massive, unknown primate could live among them triggers a primal fear. This is not just a story about a monster. It is a question about the limits of human knowledge and the sheer vastness of our planet's unexplored wilderness areas. To understand why the legend of Bigfoot or Sasquatch persists, we must look into the deep corners of human psychology, where fear of the unknown meets our desire for wonder. Indigenous cultures across North America have included stories of giant, forest-dwelling beings in their oral traditions for thousands of years, long before modern hikers reported seeing them. These stories were not tales of monsters to be feared, but respectful acknowledgments of powerful, elusive neighbors inhabiting the same landscapes deeply integrated into their understanding of the environment. The modern phenomenon began largely in the 1950s, when media coverage of large footprints in California sparked a wildfire of public interest that continues to blaze today. But what makes this mystery so durable in our scientific age, where satellites map every inch of the globe and DNA testing can identify a species from a single hair? The answer lies in the persistent, tantalizing reports from everyday people, hikers, hunters, and campers who describe moments of profound terror or curiosity while alone in the deep woods. The strongest evidence presented by believers is not a body, nor a clear photograph, but thousands of reported sightings, often describing a massive, hairy figure walking on two legs. These eyewitness accounts are remarkably consistent across different regions and time periods, suggesting a shared experience rather than a collection of isolated, unrelated hallucinations or fabrications. Then there are the physical traces. Enormous, five-toed footprints found in remote areas, far from any hiking trails, which seem too heavy and complex to be easily faked. In 1967, a man named Roger Patterson filmed a grainy, shaky scene in Bluff Creek, California that remains the most famous and disputed piece of potential evidence for the creature's existence. For decades, this footage has been subjected to intense scrutiny, with some experts arguing it shows an impossible gait, while others convincingly argue it depicts a person in a suit. The enduring power of these reports challenges us to question the boundary between objective reality and the subjective human experience in moments of extreme shock or environmental stress. Modern science, however, demands more than stories. It requires tangible, testable evidence that can be scrutinized, replicated, and verified within the strict framework of biological understanding. When researchers try to apply the scientific method to Bigfoot, they find themselves looking for a needle in a haystack, only to realize the haystack itself is largely imagined. The search for Sasquatch often relies on environmental DNA, or eDNA, sampling soil, water, and air for genetic material left behind by organisms living in a specific ecosystem. So far, these sophisticated genetic analyses have failed to produce any evidence of a large, unknown primate, instead identifying hundreds of known species, from black bears to humans. The absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Yet in science, the burden of proof lies squarely on those claiming a new species exists among us. Skeptics point out that if a breeding population of giant primates lived in North America, we should have found bones, carcasses, or clear genetic signatures by now. The ecological requirements for a creature of that size are immense, requiring vast foraging grounds that would likely overlap with human activity, increasing the chance of undeniable encounters. Furthermore, many purported footprints have been proven to be hoaxes, often created by people wearing specialized fake feet to test the gullibility of the public and researchers. This brings us to a crucial aspect of the Bigfoot legend. It is a mirror reflecting our own psychological need for mystery in a world that feels fully explored. Our minds are exceptionally good at pattern recognition, sometimes finding familiar shapes in the random chaos of shadows, trees, and shifting light in a deep forest. This phenomenon, known as pareidolia, is why we see faces in clouds or a bipedal figure in a tall, moving stump, turning mundane nature into a potential mystery. The fear of the unknown also plays a massive role, transforming a nervous hiker's solitude into a dramatic confrontation with a mythical beast fueled by ancestral memories of predators. Yet, even if Bigfoot is not a real biological entity, the legend itself has tangible effects, influencing culture, spawning businesses, and driving tourism in remote communities. It reminds us that humanity still craves the frontier, the feeling that there is something wild and untamed just beyond the edge of our neatly organized technological civilization. From a deeper, philosophical perspective, the existence of Bigfoot, real or imagined, highlights our complex and often contradictory relationship with the natural world. We fear the wilderness because we have conquered it, but we also respect it for the raw, unscripted power it still holds over our imagination. Anthropologists view the legend as a narrative tool, a way for society to discuss the boundary between human and animal, civilization and wilderness, and safety and danger. In this context, Sasquatch functions as a guardian of the forest, a symbol of the wild places that remind us of our own smallness in the face of nature. Perhaps the true value of the legend lies not in finding the creature, but in the journey of looking, which forces us to venture into nature and observe it more closely. If we ever did find a Bigfoot, we might quickly lose interest, turning the mystery into a science project and stripping away the wonder that makes the story compelling. The mystery allows us to entertain the possibility that we are not the masters of every ecosystem, that the world is still vast, mysterious, and full of surprises. As long as there are deep, dark forests left on Earth, the legend will likely endure, a testament to our enduring curiosity and our subconscious fear of what hides in the shadows. It is a question that may never be answered definitively, and perhaps that is exactly how it is supposed to be, a perpetual mystery in an age of certainty. But what if the search itself for Bigfoot or other hidden creatures is a crucial part of our evolution, pushing us to explore, understand, and protect our planet? Let's shift our gaze from the dense forests of North America to the vast, arid landscapes of South America, where another mysterious creature is said to roam the jungles. The Mapinguari, a legend from the Amazon basin, describes a terrifying giant beast with thick, matted fur, immense claws, and a second mouth located right on its stomach. Indigenous tribes have shared tales of this creature for centuries, telling of a beast that emits a deafening roar and unleashes a stench so foul it paralyzes its prey. Unlike the solitary Bigfoot, the Mapinguari is often depicted as a localized, aggressive threat to hunters and foragers who venture too deep into the untamed heart of the rainforest. But is it possible that this terrifying creature is not merely a figment of imagination, but a cultural memory of a real animal that lived alongside ancient humans? Some researchers, most notably Dr. David Oren, a prominent zoologist, suggest that the Mapinguari could be the last surviving remnant of the extinct megafauna that once dominated South America. Specifically, they point to the giant ground sloth, Megatherium*, a creature the size of an elephant that went extinct relatively recently, around 10,000 years ago, in geological terms. The descriptions of the Mapinguari, its immense size, slow movement, and impenetrable skin bear a striking resemblance to what paleontologists know about the armor-plated skin of these ancient sloths. The creature's unusual second mouth on its stomach could be a misinterpreted description of the ground sloth's peculiar method of feeding, using its powerful limbs to pull down branches. This hypothesis hinges on the idea that oral traditions can preserve accurate ecological knowledge over millennia, turning a factual encounter into an enduring legend of a monster. Imagine a time when humans were not the dominant species, but shared the landscape with massive, slow-moving herbivores that held a terrifying power over the environment. As these giants slowly disappeared due to climate change and human activity, their presence likely lingered in the stories, exaggerating their features into the fearsome Mapinguari we hear of today. However, like the search for Bigfoot, the search for the Mapinguari faces significant challenges, primarily the lack of concrete, physical evidence that can withstand rigorous scientific scrutiny. Despite multiple expeditions led by dedicated researchers, no skeletons, confirmed footprints, or DNA samples have been found to prove that this giant beast still walks the earth. Skeptics argue that eyewitness accounts are often based on misidentifications of known animals, such as the spectacled bear or the giant otter, when seen in poor light or from a distance. Furthermore, the dense, humid environment of the Amazon is notoriously difficult for preserving organic matter, meaning any remains would quickly decay, leaving no trace for paleontologists to find. The Mapinguari legend, therefore, stands at the fascinating intersection of anthropology and zoology, challenging us to distinguish between shared cultural memory and the reality of surviving species. It teaches us that our understanding of the past is not just based on fossils in a museum, but also on the stories passed down through generations in isolated communities. This creature reminds us that the boundaries of biological knowledge are constantly shifting, and that what we classify as extinct might still exist in the fringes of our awareness. But if the Mapinguari is indeed a megatherium, it begs the question: how could such a massive animal hide from modern cameras and satellite surveys in the 21st century? The search for hidden creatures often leads us to ask not just what is out there, but what we have already lost and forgotten in our frantic push for modernization. Throughout history, legends have acted as vessels for ecological knowledge, preserving information about dangerous animals, useful plants, or landscape features that no longer exist. When we hear tales of the Mapinguari, we are likely hearing the echo of a prehistoric encounter, a cultural memory of the terrifying megafauna that vanished thousands of years ago. This phenomenon suggests that myths are not purely fabrications, but often based on real, albeit misunderstood, experiences with the natural world that have been stretched over time. The psychological comfort of believing these creatures are still out there stems from our desire to keep the world mysterious and avoid the finality of total human dominion over Earth. If a giant ground sloth still lives in the Amazon, it means that nature is far more resilient and secretive than we ever dared to hope or calculate in our studies. It also highlights the limitations of scientific exploration, which relies on visible evidence and structured methodologies that can easily miss creatures adapted for extreme stealth and camouflage. Skepticism is necessary to distinguish fact from fiction, but absolute dismissal of all legends can cause us to lose valuable insights into the behavior of ancient ecosystems. The Mapinguari forces us to bridge the gap between anthropology, which studies human stories, and biology, which studies the physical world, showing they are deeply interconnected. As we look toward the future of conservation, understanding these legends could help us better grasp what was once there and what we might be able to bring back. Imagine if the stories of the Mapinguari could be used not just to hunt a monster, but to map the ecological history of the Amazon basin with greater precision. The study of these legends, often called cryptozoology, is rarely accepted in mainstream science, yet it persistently captures the public imagination and drives new ecological surveys. Perhaps the true value lies not in confirming the existence of a single beast, but in the attention these legends bring to the protection of remote, biodiverse environments. The threat to these habitats is real, and the loss of biodiversity is accelerating, making the search for hidden species a metaphor for the struggle to save what is left. In this light, the Mapinguari is a symbol of the Amazon itself: vast, misunderstood, potentially dangerous, and intensely beautiful, demanding our respect rather than just our curiosity. We must confront the reality that humanity is responsible for the extinction of the very megafauna that likely inspired these legends, creating a profound sense of ecological guilt. Our desire to find the Mapinguari might be a subconscious effort to undo the damage of the past, to find the giants we destroyed and prove they are still alive. But science demands proof, and until a living specimen or indisputable remains are found, the Mapinguari will remain in the realm of folklore, a tantalizing question rather than a biological fact. It reminds us that our knowledge of the planet is incomplete, and that every dense jungle and deep ocean could still hold secrets that would redefine our understanding of life. As we turn our attention from the jungle floor to the vast, cold emptiness of the ocean depths, we find that the search for the unknown is far from over. The ocean is the largest, least explored habitat on Earth, a world of crushing pressure, perpetual darkness, and bizarre life forms that challenge our understanding of biology. For centuries, sailors brought back tales of the Kraken, a colossal sea monster capable of dragging entire ships down into the icy abyss, a terror of the northern seas. The legend of the Kraken was largely dismissed as a sailor's myth, a way to explain ships that vanished without a trace in the treacherous, uncharted waters. Yet, in the 19th century, science began to catch up with the myths as the first specimens of the giant squid Architeuthis dux were found washed ashore. These creatures, with tentacles stretching dozens of feet, provided a physical basis for the legend, confirming that monsters could exist in the deep, just not quite as large as believed. This discovery illustrates a profound truth about cryptozoology. Many myths are based on real, albeit rare and rarely seen, animals that inhabit environments inaccessible to humans. The giant squid remains one of the most elusive creatures on the planet, with the first footage of a living specimen in its natural habitat taken only in 2004. The ocean teaches us that our concept of extinct might be flawed, as species thought to be lost have been rediscovered in the deep sea, surviving in isolation. Consider the coelacanth, a prehistoric fish thought to have gone extinct alongside the dinosaurs, which was rediscovered alive in 1938, stunning the scientific community. These living fossils bridge the gap between geological time and the present, showing us that evolution can sometimes take a detour into hidden, stable environments. The deep ocean is a landscape of extremes, where creatures have developed extraordinary adaptations, such as bioluminescence to light the dark and immense jaws to consume rare prey. Our search for these hidden giants, from the squid to potential deep-sea megafauna, is driven by the human desire to populate the unknown with wonders rather than just emptiness. However, the vastness of the ocean also means that the probability of encountering these rare creatures is incredibly low, turning every sighting into a significant scientific event. The kraken, therefore, is not just a monster. It is a symbol of our fear of the unknown, deep, and a testament to the fact that reality can sometimes exceed our wildest imagination. The study of these deep-sea legends requires specialized technology, from deep-diving submersibles to acoustic monitoring, as we attempt to map the biology of the abyss. As we map the ocean floor, we are discovering that it is not a flat, featureless plain, but a complex landscape of underwater mountains, deep trenches, and hydrothermal vents. These vents host entire ecosystems that do not rely on sunlight for energy, but on chemosynthesis, suggesting that life could exist in extreme conditions on other planets. The Kraken legend, in its modern scientific form, is a call to protect the ocean not just from monsters, but from the human impact that threatens even the deepest habitats. The search for the Kraken reminds us that the ocean is the true final frontier, a place where the rules of life are different and the potential for discovery is limitless. What other colossal creatures could be hiding in the uncharted trenches, waiting to be discovered by a human eye or a specialized camera? We have traveled from the towering forests of the north, through the dense jungles of the Amazon, to the icy depths of the ocean, searching for monsters that may not exist. These stories of Bigfoot, the Mapinguari, and the Kraken tell us less about the creatures themselves and more about our own profound need for mystery in a structured world. Science thrives on evidence, bringing clarity to the unknown, but folklore thrives on ambiguity, allowing us to dream of a world that is still vast, untamed, and full of surprises. The real value of these myths may be in the bridge they build between human culture and the natural world, prompting us to explore, study, and ultimately protect our planet. They remind us that our knowledge is a small island in a vast sea of ignorance, and that the boundaries of reality are constantly being pushed by new discoveries and technological advancements. Whether these creatures are flesh and blood, or merely shared dreams born of fear and wonder, they play a crucial role in shaping our relationship with the environment. As we look towards the future, the search for these hidden wonders will likely continue, driven by our desire to know if we are truly alone in the unexplored corners of Earth. We might find that the true monsters are not hidden in the forest or the sea, but are the threats we ourselves pose to the delicate balance of nature's ecosystems. Perhaps the most important question is not whether the legend is true, but what the legend allows us to see about ourselves and our desire to interact with the wild. The enduring power of these tales is a testament to the human spirit of curiosity, which will never be satisfied until every corner of our world has been illuminated. In the end, the myths serve as a reminder to look closer, to respect the unknown, and to cherish the sheer wonder of a planet that can still inspire such terrifying tales. While science provides the map, it is stories like these that provide the motivation to travel into the unknown and search for what might be hidden just out of sight. As our technology advances, the number of places for these creatures to hide shrinks, but the search itself remains a vital part of our journey to understand our place in the universe. The quest for the hidden is not just about biology. It is about keeping alive the capacity for awe, for believing that the world is more magical than it appears to be. So, the next time you walk into a dense forest or look out at a vast ocean, take a moment to consider what might be watching from the shadows, waiting for us to notice. The mystery is not just a question to be answered. It is a vital part of our human experience, a thread that connects us to the ancient explorers and to the unknown future. The search for hidden species is ultimately a search for understanding, forcing us to observe the natural world with greater care and respect than ever before. Let us hold on to these stories, for they are the keepers of wonder, the defenders of the unknown, and the catalysts for the discoveries of tomorrow. The wilderness is not just a place we visit, it is a part of us, and the legends that emerge from it are a testament to our ongoing dialogue with the untamed. The question remains, are we ready to find what is hidden, or do we secretly hope the mystery lasts forever?